you're about to witness a creature that cannot die, a fungus that controls the brain, and a life form that survives in outer space. These are real science mysteries, hidden knowledge you've never been taught, and unknown facts that will make you question everything about life. The immortal jellyfish, a creature that reverses time. Do you believe there's a creature that never dies? When it's injured, it doesn't fade away, it rewinds time. Its name is Turritopsis dohrnii, found in the Mediterranean and tropical oceans. When injured or sensing death, it triggers a rare biological process, reversing cellular differentiation, turning adult cells back into stem cells, then starting its life over. It's like a dying tree turning into a seed, and growing again, but still being the same individual. What makes this so remarkable? It doesn't die, it resets and grows up again, like nothing happened. This process is called transdifferentiation, completely different from limb regeneration in lizards or salamanders. So far, no other complex multicellular organism has shown this ability. Scientists are studying this jellyfish's unique genes in hopes of unlocking secrets to anti-aging, possibly revolutionizing regenerative medicine. This jellyfish doesn't defeat death, it simply avoids it. But is it the only one? Not quite. Some creatures don't turn back to escape death, they move forward to overcome it. Like the fish you're about to meet next. Strange creature 2. The fish that can live outside water for hours. Fish are creatures of water, but some know how to walk on land. They can survive for hours, sometimes an entire day, without being submerged. The walking catfish can live outside water for 12 to 18 hours. It has a lung-like organ in its gill chamber that allows it to absorb oxygen directly from the air. When crawling on wet ground, it moves by flexing its pectoral fins, like a primitive form of walking. Mudskippers take it even further. Their skin stays moist to absorb oxygen through it. Their eyes bulge like periscopes, perfect for scanning while above water. They can even mate, defend territory, and raise offspring entirely on land. What makes them so special? Unlike most fish that die when water dries up, these species reverse adapt, moving part of their lives onto land. They're living proof of a theory that life once moved from sea to land hundreds of millions of years ago, a turning point that gave rise to all vertebrates, including us. Leaving the water doesn't mean death for every fish. Some evolve to step beyond that boundary, but some creatures don't just break physical limits, they go even deeper, into the mind of others. Strange creature 3. Insects controlled by a fungus. You think zombies only exist in movies? The truth is, there's a fungus that turns insects into biological undead. The fungus Ophiocordyceps unilateralis doesn't kill ants right away. Instead, it releases enzymes that alter behavior, then invades muscle, nerves, and especially the ant's decision-making center, its neural ganglia. The ant is forced to climb a plant, bite onto a leaf, and stay there, frozen. After a few days, a fungal stalk bursts through its head, releasing spores onto the ground below, right where more ants are passing. The fungus makes the ant climb to just the right height to spread its spores as far as possible. The bite happens at sunset, when humidity and temperature are perfect for fungal growth. It's a form of biological GPS, astonishingly precise. Neuroscientists and biomedical researchers are fascinated by this brain-hacking ability, studying it to understand behavioral control, mental disorders, and how parasites can manipulate biology. Small doesn't mean powerless. A fungus with no brain can still control a creature with one, but control is just one form of power. Some creatures, even when cut in half, don't die. In fact, they can regrow from the tiniest piece. Strange creature 4. The worm that regrows its head, real-life regeneration. Cut off its head, and it grows another one? Sounds like a myth, but some creatures actually can. The planarian flatworm has one of the most flexible regenerative genomes ever discovered. Slice it into dozens of pieces, and each one can regrow an entire body, including the central nervous system and even eyes. Neoblasts, pluripotent stem cells, make up 25 to 30% of the worm's body. These cells detect missing parts and precisely transform into the correct tissues. Even if you cut off its head, it can regrow a fully functional brain. How is this different from other animals? Salamanders can regrow limbs, but not heads. Planarians can regenerate any body part, including the brain, and do it symmetrically. These worms are paving the way for regenerative medicine, from healing injuries to someday regrowing lost human organs. If humans could learn to regenerate like planarians, medicine wouldn't just cure disease, it could restore what was lost. And finally, we meet a creature that breaks every boundary, not just water, land, or air, but space itself. Strange Creature 5. The animal that survives in space. No air. No water. No stable temperature. Everything dies, except for a creature smaller than a speck of dust. The tardigrade, or water bear, measures just 0.5 millimeters, yet it has a mind-blowing biological design. In extreme conditions, vacuum, cold, heat, radiation, it dries out and curls into a ton state, a form of suspended animation. In this state, it halts all metabolic activity, its heart rate drops to 0. It produces a special protein called SUP that shields its DNA from damage caused by UV rays and ionizing radiation. Tardigrades survive the vacuum of outer space for 10 days. They lived through lethal doses of gamma radiation, and revived after being frozen to nearly minus 270 degrees Celsius, close to absolute zero. Tardigrades are key candidates in the panspermia theory, the idea that life could travel across the universe via meteorites. Tardigrades aren't strong, but they are immortal in their own way. Through perfect adaptation, they don't fight the environment, they outlast it. And that's what all the creatures in this video have in common. It's not brute strength that makes them extraordinary, it's their ability to survive the impossible. The natural world is far from simple. The deeper we look, the more we realize humans are not that special, and perhaps, hidden among these strange creatures, lies the key to our own resilience.